A quiet revelation that comes only after the years have had their say. It does not arrive with fanfare. It comes in still moments, perhaps during an early morning when the house is quiet, or in the pause between one chapter ending and another beginning. You begin to recognize that life was never meant to be understood from the valley alone. The striving, the proving, the long climb of responsibility and survival, all of it was necessary, but it was never the destination. What the years finally reveal is this: the first half of life trains the muscles, but the second half reveals the meaning of the journey. The revelation is not that ambition was wrong, but that it was incomplete. You spent decades building, earning, protecting, and providing. You measured progress in tangible ways: titles held, accounts balanced, obligations met. That climb mattered. It formed your discipline and resilience. Yet from where you stand now, you can see that the climb itself was preparation for a higher calling. The first mountain was about establishment, finding your footing in the world, proving your capacity to endure and achieve. The second mountain is about significance, deciding what all of that endurance was truly for. This realization does not diminish your past, it gives it purpose. The gift of years is perspective, and perspective is a form of wealth that cannot be rushed or borrowed. You have lived long enough to know that success without meaning leaves a hollow echo, no matter how loudly it once applauded. You have also learned that many of the moments you once labeled as failure were, in truth, quiet instructors. The job that ended unexpectedly, the relationship that taught you humility, the plan that did not unfold as hoped, each refined your judgment in ways comfort never could. The victories you celebrated taught you something equally valuable. Which triumphs fade quickly and which ones stay with you, warming you long after the applause has ended. Time did not weaken you, it distilled you. Like a seasoned craftsman who no longer wastes motion, you now see life with an economy of truth. The years stripped away what was unnecessary: the need to impress, the fear of being misunderstood, the illusion that everything must be rushed. What remains is essential: character, relationships, and the quiet satisfaction of living in alignment with your values. You understand now that wisdom is not knowing everything, but knowing what matters and what can be released. This is the harvest of your decades, and it is richer than you may have ever realized. At this stage of life, a new opportunity quietly presents itself. It does not announce itself with urgency or pressure. It simply waits, patient and certain. This is not the noisy opportunity of accumulation, but the steady opportunity of contribution. You are no longer driven by the need to prove your worth to others or to yourself. That work has already been done. You are guided instead by an inner compass shaped by lived truth, by lessons learned the hard way, and values tested under real conditions. With this freedom comes discernment. You can choose work that matters rather than work that merely fills time. You can invest your energy in conversations that heal rather than arguments that drain. You can direct your efforts toward actions that endure beyond your own lifetime rather than achievements that expire with a title or position. You understand the difference between being busy and being useful, between being admired and being respected. This stage of life offers you something rare: the ability to act without illusion, to give without needing recognition, and to lead without needing to stand at the front. This is the legacy moment, whether you have named it as such or not. The world is in need of seasoned voices, people who have seen cycles repeat and understand that every choice carries consequences. You have watched trends rise and fall, promises made and broken, shortcuts taken and paid for. You know that character outlives reputation and that integrity compounds quietly over time. This knowledge gives you a responsibility, not a burden, to share what you have learned. Legacy is not built through grand gestures alone. It is shaped through consistency, through example, through the steady passing on of wisdom. It may show itself in mentoring someone younger, in preserving a family story, in setting a standard that others quietly follow. What you complete now does not erase the past. It gathers it, honors it, and brings it full circle. Your decades of experience are not relics of another era. They are tools uniquely suited for this moment. Standing here, with the long road behind you and a clearer horizon ahead, you begin to sense something profound. The second mountain is not higher, but it is deeper. It asks less of your physical strength and more of your understanding. It calls not for speed, but for intention. It invites you to integrate everything you have been into something whole and meaningful. This is the season of depth, of harvest, of purposeful contribution. You have earned the right to choose meaning over noise, significance over applause, and legacy over urgency. The path forward may be quieter, but it is no less important. In many ways, it is the most important work you will ever do. The deeper understanding that arrives in the later chapters of life changes everything. It does not arrive as a sudden revelation, but as a steady clearing of vision, like morning fog lifting from a familiar landscape. You no longer measure your days by how much you can gather, but by how much meaning you can shape. The years have taught you, sometimes gently, sometimes through hardship, that time is not infinite, and precisely because of that, it is precious. This awareness does not create fear, it creates focus. You choose with greater care now because you understand the true cost of every choice. You have paid enough prices to recognize which ones are worth paying again. The harvest of your years is substantial. You have gathered lessons that cannot be learned from books alone. How resilience is built slowly through repetition. How forgiveness lightens the soul long after pride has exhausted itself. How patience outlasts force in the long arc of life. You carry memories of mistakes made and wisdom earned, of relationships tested and refined by time and truth. The harvest is not just what went well, it is also what survived. The sleepless nights, the difficult decisions, the seasons when progress seemed invisible. These formed roots deeper than success ever could. You learned how to endure uncertainty, how to keep faith when outcomes were unclear, how to stand upright when circumstances bent against you. Looking back now, you can see that nothing was wasted. Even the years that felt barren were quietly preparing the soil for what could only grow later. The harvest you carry is seasoned, textured, and real. It is yours alone, earned honestly, and ready to be used. From this harvest comes contribution. The second mountain does not call for applause or recognition. It calls for service, not service born of obligation, but service born of understanding. You understand what the young cannot yet grasp, that shortcuts carry hidden costs, that values matter more than speed, that integrity compounds quietly over decades. You have watched people rise quickly and fall just as fast, and you have seen others advance steadily, grounded by principle, and remain standing long after trends shifted. Your experience gives you a unique authority, not to dominate, but to guide, not to lecture, but to model what a life of substance looks like. You lead now by example, by the way you listen, by the standards you quietly maintain even when no one is watching. You know that influence is strongest when it is earned rather than demanded. In this season, contribution may look like mentorship, stewardship, or simply presence. It may take the form of steady counsel, thoughtful questions, or the courage to speak truth when silence would be easier. This is work that does not seek credit, yet leaves an enduring imprint. There is also a calling toward completion. This calling is subtle but persistent. Like a familiar melody you recognize even when played softly. Unfinished dreams no longer haunt you as regrets. They invite you as responsibilities. Some dreams are meant to be completed in action. A book finally written, a conversation long delayed, a contribution finally made. Others are meant to be completed in meaning, reframed, forgiven, or released with understanding. You are not starting over. You are integrating everything you have been into something whole. The scattered pieces of earlier chapters, successes, failures, detours, and delays begin to assemble into a coherent story. This is the craftsman's phase of life, where mastery replaces effort and intention replaces urgency. You no longer rush the work, you refine it. You take satisfaction in precision, in alignment, in knowing when enough is enough. Completion now is not about doing more, but about making sense of what has already been done. The lasting impact of this season is quiet, but profound. What you choose to pass on, your values, your stories, your hard-earned clarity, will shape lives you may never meet. A principle shared at the right moment can alter someone's direction. A story told honestly can spare another years of unnecessary struggle. A standard upheld consistently can become a benchmark others quietly follow. You have lived long enough to know that legacy is not what you leave behind, but what you leave within others. Buildings erode, titles fade, and possessions change hands. But wisdom, once planted, continues to grow. It moves through generations like a steady current, unseen yet powerful. Your responsibility now is not to impress the future, but to prepare it, to offer what you have learned so that others may walk with greater clarity and fewer illusions. The second mountain stands before you not as a test of strength, but as an invitation to meaning. It does not demand more energy than you possess. It asks for the depth you have already earned. This is the season where your life moves from accumulation to application, from effort to essence. You are ready not because you are flawless, but because you are seasoned. And in this readiness lies the most significant contribution of your entire journey.